one of the key things that really comes out of the Burkina example, right, is really around this idea of both in terms of the public engagement and awareness raising, in terms of the training of the people that are actually supposed to enforce the laws, right? But also in other instances as well, addressing some of the challenges as it relates to access to justice, right? So, for instance, instead of just relying on the quote unquote the permanent infrastructures of the court system in Burkina, they had the mobile the mobile health the mobile legal
Courts.
clinics, right, where then the mobile courts, right, which then takes this to the people, right, because it's also this idea that we're not just, because we know that in a lot of African countries that access to justice is very problematic, and an issue for a lot of women, right? So dealing with that kind of process as well. So really thinking about innovative ways of how we ensure that the legal responses is emboldened in a way that it actually addresses the issues that it's supposed to, right? And
Right.
so coming back to the Gambian context to say, yes, we haven't had prosecution, right? But what the FGM law then does is serve as an advocacy tool, right, for civil society, for the international community. And I do, if you've seen my conversation piece, when the FGM backlash happened, was also to know that the international community also has a role to play here, right? So a role to play here, not just necessarily about, yes, we're coming in, we're supporting the drafting and the adoption of a law, and then we're out, right? Because my observation is that, especially when we're dealing with practices such as FGM that are embedded in cultures and traditions, right? There really is, we need to have a theory of change, right? A theory of change in a sense, how do we move the needle from one point to another? And this instance is really also thinking about sustained ways of funding. That's not just about ticking off the checklist
Yeah.
that we have a law and
And then,
that's it, we're out, right? Exactly, right? That it needs to be a long-term strategy, right? And a long-term strategy that's not just about building the capacity of the folks that are supposed to enforce the law in a way, engaging with the communities as to the importance of the law, but also the other social behavioral change mechanisms as well, but also in line with other broader strategies, especially within country, that really builds the capacity of women and girls.